Well, we completed the electric and plumbing all the way from the road to the house. I'll show you over here where the power feed service cable is coming up. We also put a coax in here as well for the internet, so that's ran in the same ditch. The water line is about 5 feet down. We went a little deeper than necessary just because you know, it doesn't hurt to. We had a big shovel here, excavator, so we were able to do it anyway. So in addition to that, I have a 3/4 pipe that comes out of the house, out of the same sleeve as the main feed that goes in, and we ran that all the way back here to where the chicken coop will be. It's always nice just having water right out there, not having to bring buckets and whatnot, or bring the water bowls back. So we ran a yard hydrant out here, probably about 100 feet away. Again, with the big shovel, it was nice to just get that out of the way and put that in ahead of time. So we also moved this topsoil pile. That it kind of came right to about this point. We just moved all the dirt over so we'd make room for a coop. I can install the coop now and get that ready so that we could still final grade around that. So I did take a lot of topsoil just with the skid steer. It'd be a lot easier with the dozer to do all the rough grading, but I just brought in some bunch of bucket fills and graded this out all around the back of the house and the side. Main reason for that is obviously just so we could shed some water away if it does start to rain now, but when I go to do the siding, I want to be able to have a good platform and base to work on and get the ladder and everything going. So but that's it. We got the water service and the electric service all done. I'm going to walk up here to the road and at least show the details of the meter pit and the electrical panel. So now we're up by the road where we originally started digging this trench. So way back there's the house. Up here is where the meter pit is. So we had to dig down and find where the water authority had tapped into the main water line, which is right here. So this is the cap for, you unscrew this cap, and under there is where you'd put the tool in to turn on and off the main shut off up at the road. So we brought that back. The other thing is we had this culvert pipe, which is right here. So we actually had to dig some of that up and put the water line underneath that since it wasn't deep enough, and then put that piece back in. So we repaired that. And here is the meter pit. So this is meant to be finished to grade. If you've never seen one of these, it's pretty interesting how they work. So the water authority will come back, and actually in this hole here, this is where they'll put the electronic reader. So when they're up at the road, they can just read it right here. So, I don't have the tool to be able to pop this off, but here, let's see down in there. But basically what this is, you pop this cover off, and it's just a big tube that goes all the way down. The meter's sitting right in here. And they can pull the meter up to the top to service it and twist it and pop it back down. There's a big piece of foam in there to keep it insulated so that it doesn't freeze. But yeah, that's where it is. So what we'll do in this area up here by the road is just make sure it's graded, put some seed down, and then just make sure we mow around this just so we can always access it and service it if needed. They do come and take their own measurements in case it does get grown in. They could figure out where it is, but it's pretty close to the pole. So I also, that coax, we had ran in the same ditch with the electric, but then we had to come, which the electric ended up going this way, but we twisted off here this way for the water service line, and we brought the coax into this trench, and I have it right here just sitting on a spare bunch of wire here on a spool so that they'll be able to put that up the pole. So going over here to the electrical panel, we ran the service cable up in here, and a lot of this was really thick fill with a lot of concrete chunks and whatnot, so I ended up getting a bunch of sand to pour in here to backfill it with. So here's the service cable. Once we have the panel in the house, that's when we'll actually go ahead and make the connection into this junction box. I have a video on putting all this together. Go ahead and check that one out. But what it's basically doing is the main power service comes in from the pole, comes up into comes up into here, feeds this panel, However, to get to the house, we needed to step it up with a 350 size wire, which is much bigger, too big to fit into the lugs on this panel. So we have a little jumper wire that goes from here into this junction box, and that's where I have some big lug connections that we could jumper from the 4-aught over to the 350 to make the long run out to the house, just so that we don't have any voltage drop issues. So that's it, and that wraps up this project. The only thing left to do, like I said, is just kind of get the main panel, electric panel, which actually would be considered a sub panel, as since that's our main panel, the house panel is actually considered a sub panel. So all that really means is that you have to run an additional ground wire. You can't have 3 wire, you have to run 4, so that your main ground ends up back here at the meter with the ground rods in the ground here. So yeah, that's it. So the only thing left to do is get the panel in the house, make those connections, and we'll have power right at the house. I mean, this meter's already live up here at the top, so the crew has been just plugging in their stuff on an extension cord and running it down. It's too far to run all the way. It's 400 feet, so extension cords would not be the way to go. So we basically just run a cord down so they don't have to walk as far, and charge some batteries and whatnot. So pretty soon we'll have power in the house. Same thing with the water. We can now that we have everything ran, we could now call the water authority and have them come back and place the meter, and then we'll be able to, we did test it from the connection into the meter pit, turn the water on, but you really can't test everything until they get the meter in place. So once they do that, we'll be able to get some water coming out at the house, and then put our pressure regulator in and get some water and electric at the house. So really excited about that. We're making really good progress. I didn't touch any of the framing on this video, but I will do another video after we get to the next point in framing. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't yet, subscribe. Tons of videos on the build, tons of videos still to come about building an entire house. Everything from planning, designing, purchasing land, going through the subdivision paperwork and all that whole thing. So all the steps to design and build an entire house. Stay tuned, and we'll see you guys on the next one.